Yesterday, s1mple had the highest rated map of his entire career while he was playing versus Nexus in ECL Challenger League, and naturally I wanted to do a demo review talking about that game to see how he managed to get such a high rating. The problem is that when I looked at the game, I noticed that compared to his other previous best game, this one is pretty underwhelming. And so I want to talk about this game and see how he managed to get such a high rating when this game is pretty mediocre, all things considered. And most of this comes down to HLTV's new 3.0 rating system valuing different stats than before, so we can get higher ratings with seemingly less kills. And this is far from the first time that we've seen something like this happen, because even just this week in Pro League, we saw Tenier get a higher rating by quite a significant amount than Donk, even though Donk had 12 more kills in this best of 3 than Tenier, but Tenier had a higher rating. And that just comes down to the fact that it values this new stat called round swing. Now, round swing is a very important stat when you consider the new 3.0 rating that HLTV goes by. As you can see by these change notes here, round swing is just something that takes into account how important a kill was in the round. So for example, if you're getting exits in a 1v5 where you're saving, it's not going to value those kills, but if you're trading or denying trades, that's going to be something that swings around in your favor. Or if you're in a 4v3 and you get a 2k, that's going to be something that gives you more rating points. Like I said, you can read all of these notes if you want to understand it more, but the reason why I'm starting this video by explaining this stat is because it explains how s1mple was able to get such a high rating because of the way bc.game was playing in Banana. As you can see, s1mple only gets 1 kill this round, but he denied a trade from the other team. And it was a good round overall. They just took fast Banana control. Nothing too crazy. They're just trying to take a lot of duels, which they're going to do for the rest of the game. We'll do a normal demo review after, but because he's getting a lot of these trades with Andu going up and taking aggressive fights, it's going to give s1mple a higher rating, even if he only ends up with 1 kill in the round, because HLTV's round swing stat is so heavily valued. Now, I know you guys are here for a full demo review, and I promise we're going to get to that, but as one final point, we can go ahead and look at s1mple's previous best game here, which was this game right here, where he went 37 and 8, he had a plus 29, and he had just in total a 2.77, which I would say this game is probably more impressive, or maybe even this one where he went 42 and 14. But with the new round swing stat that's valued so heavily, I mean, just again, look at this stat here. He has a 21% round swing in his direction, which is insane, and we know that that's insane because the best one that we've seen so far is from Zaiwu, where he had a 3.92 rating and a 30 round swing, and that's just ridiculous. But all that's to say, I know that this stat is what's pushing up the ratings because of how HLTV values it differently. And I say all of that not to take away from s1mple's game, because I do think that it was a good game, but is it as insane as those previous games that we saw before? I don't think so. But all of that being said, I'm going to play today's sponsor, and then we're going to go into how bc.game played this game tactically and how it ended up giving s1mple such a high rating. Today's video is sponsored by SkinsMonkey. Now, if you're not familiar with SkinsMonkey, this is a trade site that allows you to take some of the old and crusty skins out of your inventory, and you can actually trade them in for something a little bit new, a little bit shinier than what you have right now. And it's really easy to do this, actually. All you need to do is log in through Steam, pick the skins that you don't want to use anymore, grab the ones that you do, and then click trade. All trades will pretty much happen immediately, and any balance that you don't use in your trade actually stays on the site for you to use for any future trades that you decide to do. And right now, if you use the link in the description, you can actually get a 35% deposit bonus, and that's good for up to $100. So let's say you deposit $100, you would actually get $135 on the site if you use my link. So make sure you check out SkinsMonkey, and let's hop right back into the video. Now, for the first gun round, we're going to see some more aggressive banana control. They did this against the eco while I was yapping in the intro, and the idea is really simple. They just want to pressure towards top car, make the CTs feel uncomfortable. More importantly though, this is just conditioning. Since they've already done it once, they can do it again and make these A players really uncomfortable, maybe force them to go for something aggressive if somebody was holding, make them cheat a rotate to leave a gap, which they will end up doing later, by the way. Just keep in mind that conditioning. But yeah, it's just if they get the kills, they have everybody there, they can go B. If not, they can reset pretty easily, which is what they'll do. s1mple's going to come back and throw this arch smoke, Emmy will molly porch, and then we're going to see a flash. But you'll notice that this is mostly just a ruse because it's just Emmy here, and s1mple's going to immediately be back towards B. And the reason that this is because it's, well, quite simple. If bc.game try to get some info, maybe push or retake towards top car, the whole team is waiting and they'll just win their round. But if the A players decide to disrespect and try to get info, Emmy will be waiting to see if anybody's pushing, and hopefully he'll be able to disrupt that. But last, if we do cheat or rotate, it's too big of a risk because we could be in bracket right now and getting ready to do an A exec. So it really puts Nexus in a bad position, and bc.game know that. They also don't have a ton of utility, so it's just going to be a regular old exec where they're just going to set up the stuff. s1mple's going to drop his flashback to Emmy, who is also grouped up. It's a 5-on-2. Now, you guys know that s1mple is an opper, but on the T side of Inferno, he's actually going to rifle the entire time, and he's going to be mindfully coming in second, kind of like how we talked about with Kyosuke. He wants to ensure those trades, and he will. He gets a 2k with a trade denied as well as a second kill. The round swing stat would be going up pretty significantly because of that, and then afterwards, he knows he's in a 3v3. Inferno B site is one of the harder sites to retake. We all know that. You could play crisscross applesauce in the back of the site. You could play in towards pit as well, or because we know we have a little bit of time because of the, the fake that we did and they didn't get info, we know that we can maybe sneak into backhaul, which is what s1mple did. And if you are able to hold on to this position, it makes the retake almost impossible. As you see here, s1mple's going to get that kill, and that's going to secure the round. On the other side of things, Sound is going to decide that, we have to save, play for some exits, and they're actually all going to come towards him, and better yet, he's actually going to get all 3 kills. But I think this is the perfect round to demonstrate this HLTV 3.0 rating, because s1mple's 3k is valued significantly higher, by a lot, by the way, like a lot higher than Sound's 3k, whereas in the previous HLTV ratings, they would be pretty similar, so you could still see people farming exits and get high ratings, whereas in this, his doesn't really count for anything, and s1mple is going to be pushing up the stats. Moving into the next gun round, we're going to see s1mple throw this smoke here, which is a top mid smoke, and this is really good because even though they're not going to use it, what it does is it actually breaks up this mid crossfire that you could see the lane player and the arch player do, and because you can't see either side, you could potentially lurk through on one of the sites, and it's pretty strong. And even though they're not going to use it this round, the idea of them using it later on is really good because, again, conditioning, the more that you see people throw a smoke and not use it, the more you're used to seeing it. Now, we see more top car aggression coming in, and Nexus wants to counter this by going for a fast flash play. This is, again, Inferno 101. What is really good, though, is what Andu has done. He's got on top of this part of the half wall, and what you might not know is that this little wall in front of him, this little roof piece that comes out, actually perfectly blocks the flash that gets thrown. He's going to get the kill, and s1mple is here to deny another trade, which is good for his stats, and now they're going to come in, they're going to steamroll the B site, and such is life, the round is over. But again, this is another example of them setting up that conditioning. We still see them fighting towards top car aggressive, giving Nexus nothing to work with, and they started throwing this top mid smoke just in case they ever do figure out how to stop this top car aggression. They have a backup plan for later on in the half. In the 7th round, s1mple is going to throw this smoke right here, which is going to land in towards banana, and it's going to give Andu another way of fighting towards top car. You see that smoke in front of him is the one that s1mple threw, and because of how it landed, he can actually get in front of half wall here, and at a random timing, whenever he's ready, he can decide, you know what, I'm just going to walk up here. And as you see, the other team not ready for this at all. Even though they've been playing against top car aggression all half, they haven't seen it quite like this yet, and that's going to catch Blitz off guard. Now, s1mple is close again to ensure that trade, and he's going to come out and trade his own teammate as well as the other guy, and that, again, for trade kill, that's going to be good for the round swing stat, which is good for his overall rating. And the best part about this is that the other team just saves, and that's the end of this round. We're going to go ahead and skip to round number 9. Fear not, s1mple hasn't done anything. We didn't skip anything from s1mple, and this round they have a read. s1mple will throw the top mid smoke just like we talked before, and Andu and Casanito and s1mple are going to go in towards top banana, and they're going to nade stack the corner. Now, they actually have somewhat of a read this time because, like I told you, because this team, BC.game, has been taking top car consistently, how are you going to counter this if you're on Nexus? You're going to rotate a third B player because you have to stop this from happening. You remember what I said earlier would happen with this top mid smoke? Exactly. There is a backup plan, and s1mple has a read that they could be playing 3 towards B. They hear this a flash is coming in. It's a delayed B take. Now he knows for sure that there's nobody arch likely. Because again, if that were the case and there was somebody arch, there wouldn't be a crossfire between the lane and arch player. It doesn't make sense for a pro team to be running that kind of a setup. Instead, what makes more sense is for them to be doubled up in a setup like this, where they're doubled halls, or maybe big pit, little pit, or site and pit. Those are the setups that make sense, because if they're able to take car, they can rotate somebody in time to potentially catch this arch gap. And s1mple knows, Inferno's been around for a long time. s1mple was the GOAT in CSGO. He knows this timing exists, so he's just going to walk up, not really any fear in the world, and he's going to get this timing while all this chaos is happening in B. And you can see here, he's bought just enough time for himself. They're aware of this possibility. You see they're looking. Now they get into that pit, mini pit setup like I told you about. And Sound is aware that he could be here, but s1mple's going to get the better of him. And now this is s1mple's highest rated game for a reason. You can see here that he could potentially win this round for his team. They're going to regroup in towards B. s1mple is grouped up with his teammate, and they're going to get the bomb down here pretty easily. Of course, it makes sense. The CTs want to give them as much respect. They don't want to lose the round. s1mple going to walk into the CT smoke, and you can see all the stars are aligning here. This banana smoke is going to give him a little bit of cover, and he's going to get into the smoke now. Now he finds himself in a 1-on-3. This is s1mple's highest rated game. So it shouldn't come as a surprise to you that in this 1v3, he's going to walk through the smoke and they're all going to line up, but he dies. Interesting, isn't it? Because this is his highest rated game. How can he get such a high rating without having a crazy 1v3 out of nowhere? I don't know. Well, we're going to go to the next round here, and they're going to go back to what works. We have 5 people towards B. They're just going to go for the exec. There's the God Flash for s1mple. Those the first, those the second. They're all coming in here. s1mple's in the back. He actually missed the 1 flash. He gets this kill through the coffin. That's going to be the entry counted for s1mple. Then he's going to come up on towards top oranges here, and he gets this kill again through the coffin. A double entry before he goes down, but that's enough for them to win the round. In round number 11, we see more of a puggy round. s1mple's going to go for this mid pick. It doesn't end up working out, but because the Opera was going for a mid pick at the same time that B aggression is coming in, s1mple knows it's very likely that there's a 3B setup, and we talked about this earlier. They're just going to run at them and try to break the setup. You see they're going extra fast because they want to make sure they break this, but it doesn't end up working out, and when it's all said and done and the dust settles, it's going to be s1mple and Emmy in a 2-on-4. Now, Nexus actually played this round weird. I don't really know a better way of saying it, but if you look at the map here, you'll see that Zello and BTN are actually just rotating B. And don't get me wrong, I get it. They've ended B every single round on this T side. But your pit player just left pit to go through the moto smoke to clear arch, and s1mple just takes this gap completely. And by the time this player comes back, s1mple's waiting for him. He gets the kill, and because of nameplating, he knows that that's the Apps pit player. So he's like, well, that's interesting. A is probably clear. And it is. He's just going to walk up. He hears the Opera scope in towards library. He's got the perfect timing. They know this is possible, but it doesn't matter. s1mple gets the kill regardless. And now Zello, he knows, s1mple heard him here earlier. He just tells his teammate, just come here. You're going to be fine. I'm holding the Opera. You just have to make sure you smoke it. He's going to come through the smoke. He's edging the molly. It's all working perfectly, but I just can't help but think, why did Nexus rotate off of A? There comes the kill for Emmy. I don't understand. I really don't. But Blitz is going to come here. He's going to give himself over to s1mple. And that's a nice 3K to bring back the 2v4. And even though s1mple does do really good work here, I can't help but feel like that's just an incredible misplay from the other team. Now, I'm going to do something that I almost never do in my videos, which is address a comment that I expect to get, which is, Austin, that round wasn't that bad. They just played a 3v1. They wanted to play it together at B. They play retake A. It's normal, Austin. Don't you know that? I do know that it's normal to play a 3v1 retake, but what I actually know better is that it's more likely to keep the 3 people on A and play retake B from CT or Coffin, because B is the easier site to retake in a man advantage situation. If you get people in towards site or pit, those are hard crossfires to break, and I'm sure that there is almost no real reason to overstack B. It's not like the B player was in trouble. B was still smoked off completely. They could have just stayed 3 towards A, held a nice site setup, and if they ended up going B, you just play retake and just take the numbers. You can lose any 2v4 on Inferno. It's a really hard post-plant map, but I mean, surely you would rather take the risk at A rather than B, right? I don't know. That's just my opinion. In the last round of the half, we get the same thing. We get some fast B aggression as well as s1mple just kind of holding for that push, like I mentioned could happen earlier. And when bc.game decide that they're going to go for this exec, it ends up not working out that well for them, and they're going to end up in a 3v3. But in the meantime, Casanito has walked up arch. They've exploited the fact that this is a gap that the other team likes to play, like we just talked about before. And so they know that these late arch walks are going to be really good, and that's exactly what happens. They end up in a nice 2v2. s1mple is going to be on site. He's going to drop the nade and get the kill, and then he's going to swing out here and hold a nice angle versus Zello, who he hears coming a mile away, and that's going to be a nice 2K to close out this half. He ends 17-5. Now that we're towards the end of this game, I think a lot of you guys will agree with the sentiment that this is a really weird game to have s1mple's highest rating of all time on. I mean, we're talking about the CSGO GOAT, and he's got those games where he's got 40 kills, 37 kills, those games where he's crazy hard carrying, and then there's this game where they just win and he gets a couple of trades, and this is somehow his highest rated game ever. It doesn't really make any sense. Now, obviously, I still wanted to make the video on it because it's good. It's a good video to look at. HLTV 3 rating is good, but it leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, look, the rest of this game is pretty straightforward. s1mple going to get a 3k with the FAMAS, and then in the last round of the game, they're going to end up in a full eco, and s1mple is going to rotate over towards A before the other team gets here, and they just don't check him. It's a 2v2. He's hiding in towards Cold Zero, and the bomb is down arch. They don't check him, and s1mple closes this out with 2 snazzy 1-deeks, and that's s1mple's highest rated game. He goes 22-8, and he gets a win over Nexus. It just feels so weird to call that s1mple's highest rated game of all time, but you guys can let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Does it deserve to have that title? Was this a better game than I think it is? Am I going too hard on HLTV 3.0's rating, or do you agree with me? Is this a weird game and this should probably just be one of those games that we never think about again, but now we're gonna have to talk about for the rest of history? I don't really know, but if you did enjoy the video, if you enjoyed the analysis, please subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 100k subscribers on this channel. I'll have a second plaque on the wall if we get that far, which would be pretty sick. And again, if you like the video, like it, come check out a stream sometime. I do try to stream all the time. Twitch.tv/AustinCS. I'd love to see you guys there, but that's all I got for you today. And also, I do have a new camera, yes, in case you were wondering. It's really nice, and hopefully this will make my stuff seem a little bit more professional. Love you guys as always, and hopefully I'll see you guys very, very soon. Much love.